Hello, boys and girls of all ages. Welcome to another episode of Open Crowdsource. My pony wishes you the very, very best. Hello, pony. Say hi to the nice people. I am, of course, Tors, the Space Quest historian, and I am joined by my two infamous cohorts. Hi, Gareth.
Hello.
Hi, Fred.
Hello.
And we are, of course, joined by a very special guest contestant. Sadly, not the guest contestant that we had hoped to get on the show today, but we have someone who is no less of a wonderful person.
Nice save, buddy.
Nice save on that one. I was just going briefly like, did I just insult him in sort of roundabout fashion? I did not mean to do that. He is a very, very nice person. He is, in fact, the patron saint of Open Crowdsource, or he was, in fact, the very first guest we ever had on. The reason I'm stalling for time is that I'm trying to open the script up here. That
there is no script. It's all improv. We make it up as we go along.
Said the man who was consulting the script.
And I remember, well, at least I admit it, I remember Gareth saying that you're good at radio.
I have a face for radio, is what I think he said.
That's not true.
At any rate, we were hoping to have Miss Lorelei Shannon, designer of Phantasmagoria 2, on today. She had to cancel at the very last minute. Are you guys sensing a pattern here? Because of a family emergency. We're not kidding. That happened twice in a row now. So our very, very best to her.
Or it's just people regretting their decision, which is also fair.
Could also be it, yeah. But I have now managed to find the script so that I can introduce the man who is taking her spotlight. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, in a last-minute change to the bill, please welcome at this time the acolyte behind Shartlight, the top guy at Wadget Eye. He is a terrible Catholic, as he is willing to come at such short notice and not withdraw before the moment of truth. I should have read this before I started saying it, shouldn't I? Welcome back to the show, the man who is still the Ayatollah of rock and roller, professional Virginia Capers impressionist, the Spanish saint, San Francisco Gonzalez.
Yeah, welcome to Francisco Gonzalez.
Shut up, Virginia.
Thank you, Virginia. It's so nice to be back.
Oh, you're welcome, Virginia. Straight out of Compton.
Let's go to the Capers free zone.
Yeah,
You're
it is now. I am
directed.
I have it out of my
locking
system.
this shit down. Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Gonzalez, for accepting our invitation at such short notice. We're very we're very happy to have you back because we did plan on having you on for the Adventure X special, which sadly did not happen. Was that last week? I think it was not. It was the week before that, even.
It's next week, actually.
It's
it was very, very close in your defense.
I live in a completely different time zone than everyone else on the planet. I'm
Best
actually
out of
coming to
three?
you.
You're a Time Lord.
Yeah, that's the one. Quickly recovering from that snafu, would you like to hear the introductory spiel?
What? Yes? I
Okay.
guess so.
Because
Sorry, that's my phone. I should probably set that to silent before I start doing things.
It sounded like a vacuum cleaner.
that's his
My phone
ringtone.
is actually a vacuum cleaner. I just don't know how the technology works.
The tiniest little vacuum.
Really, I mean, it's hard to use, but at least I don't have to worry about, Q-tips or anything.
Which is nice.
That's
It's like
what
Worf
she
on
said.
Star Trek: The Next Generation. Yeah. Hello. Anyway, the reason why I'm scrambling here is because literally the second that Fred hit "Let's Go Live" button, Gareth unmuted his microphone and went, "Trolls, by the way, you do know you're hosting, right?" I was like, "Oh yeah, sure. Have to open a million windows now." Just to fill everyone in who is still listening, one or two of you, what you've just tuned in to is a game and a show, but not a game show. This is where four people sit down with each other and brainstorm the next blockbuster adventure game. And if you're listening to this as the head of a major label or as a struggling indie, hi Dave Gilbert, you are free to take this idea and run with it because, after all, this is Open Crowdsource. So, the rules are simple. The open crowdsource machine will randomly select 4 cards containing a character, a setting, a task, a modifier, and a pony. And then we have 30 minutes to sketch out a full-length adventure game from whatever it gives us. Some of the cards are plucked from classic adventure games and movies of yore, and some are not. Sometime during the proceeding, the faceless jerk, that would be the horse's ass, of the game's producer will chime in with a twist that we all have to adhere to and change our design accordingly. Twists come in 2 flavors, major and minor, much like Fred's earlobes, and we can fully expect that jerk to throw one of each at us.
Not me, the producer, the horse's ass. Not me, nor my earlobes.
Ad-libbing just goes well for me every single time. Now, at the end of the half hour, a buzzer will sound, and we will recap what we've designed. And we record these episodes live, if you hadn't noticed, so people in the chat room, irc.freenode.net /backseatdesigners, and on Twitter @BSDesigners, can get involved by suggesting plot points, additions, and, most importantly of all, the title for this masterwork of ours. So, Mr. Gonzalez Capers, again, my God, you're such a handsome young man. Do you have any idea what you've re-signed yourself up for?
Well, considering that I have been here before, I'm probably the only person that can say, yes, I know exactly what I'm in for. Bring on that space pope, or whatever it was last time.
So, I guess, Mr. Olson, is the machine ready? I'm on a last name basis with everyone. Is the machine ready?
I'm not sure, but I'm gathering that the machine is more ready than Bill Cosby at a pharmacy.
I'm so proud of that. I wrote that.
No, that was also ad-libbing. I made that up on the fly.
Imagine if this was the edited version. Imagine this is the best we could do after like 10 takes.
No, we can't say that, guys. We can't say that either. That's not going to go down well with the majority of the civilized
Cosby
world.
joke will have to do. Let's move on.
It would be spectacular. The edited version of Open Crowdsource. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Open Crowdsource. Roll credits. Okay.
Anyway, let's see what the thing has got in store for us, or if I can make it crash. You ready to read, good sir?
Oh, yes, indeed. A father in a padded cell must find their lost stuff while evading the police. Those are oddly coherent cards for once.
That's a decent thriller.
It seems like it would be a really short thriller, because if he's in a padded cell,
Yeah,
I mean, the police don't really have to find him because they know where he is, and where's his stuff?
I know this. The father is actually in the padded cell, but he does astral projection. He's actually out there causing havoc in town, and the police must track him down. See, they know where his body is. They don't know where his mind is.
Maybe it's, we were talking about, before we went live, we were talking about Virginia Caber singing the holiday classics, and I'm not going to treat you with that now, but maybe it's not a father in the sense that it is a daddy. Maybe it's Father Christmas or someone.
Ah.
Or maybe it's a Catholic priest. Maybe as a coincidence, this is the sequel to Wicked Pisser.
Or this is the prequel to Wicked Pisser.
Oh yeah, prequel, because he was the Pope last time around. I guess you don't get demoted once you have that position.
No.
You really have to try hard.
You get demoted by dying. That's how you get demoted. Or retiring, I guess.
But would the Vatican even ordain a pope who has been in a padded cell, ostensibly because they're not quite right in the head? Wait, what am I saying?
Well, I mean, they did ordain one who had been in the Hitlerjugend, so I'm guessing yes.
Qualifications not too much of an issue, really.
I think we should probably focus on who this father is and why he's in the padded cell. Because he doesn't necessarily have to be in the padded cell because he's been committed. He could be visiting someone in the padded cell, and that person in the padded cell could be manipulating him to, astral project, if that's what he's doing.
Oh, yeah. Well, he doesn't. If that's the case, he doesn't have to be in the padded cell all the time. He just he visits a padded cell.
I mean, he could just hide in the padded cell. That could be his hideout.
Hiding from right under their noses.
Exactly. He has no idea where they're gonna look. And
yeah, the police aren't gonna look in the padded cell because it's right next door.
Yeah.
So is it some sort of exorcism thing? I mean, I just got done watching an exorcism film called The Atticus Institute, which was set up like a faux documentary. Yeah, some found footage shit. But it was actually really interesting because they had the footage from the 70s, and then they had interviews with the scientists who uncovered the first ever government, the first ever possession story sanctioned by government or something like that. But anyway, so this could be a father who's been called into the padded cell to conduct some sort of exorcism, ends up getting locked up in there, and then the demon is sort of running around outside.
And the demon steals his exorcism wand, or whatever it is they use for
Is that what the kids call it nowadays?
Well, I mean, being that, he's a priest, he's probably, I mean, I guess depending on what denomination he belongs to, he probably practices humility, and so he doesn't have a lot on him. So his stuff can only be like maybe one or two things, if anything. So, I mean, what could happen is that he goes in to do an exorcism on a guy in a padded cell, and when he exorcises the demon somehow does the old classic 80s trick of switching bodies. And
Can we please have the demon?
The demon possesses the priest, but takes his soul out and puts it into the body of the insane man in the padded cell, and the devil runs out and starts wreaking havoc, or the demon starts wreaking havoc in the priest's body. And so the priest in Insane Man has to... He finds that he has the power to astral project his soul, so he has to get his stuff, being his body, back while evading the police.
Which actually ties into the use of the plural, their lost stuff.
Can we please have the demon refer to the body swapping as the old 80s trick?
Yeah, sure. It's a very hip and self-aware demon.
Oh yeah, and not to spoil anyone who wants to watch the Atticus Institute, but that's exactly what happens. It just goes into cliche territory. So.
Is it from the 80s?
Oh no, it's very recent.
Oh.
So I just spoiled the 2014-15 movie for everyone. Thank you. You're welcome. But I quite like the idea. First of all, I think all the possession, jumping hosts and stuff, that should just happen in the opening cutscene. Fuck that. I mean, we literally start out with the astral projection body walking around outside trying to find this priest, trying to find this mad person who has absconded with their body.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, you have to, every once in a while, you have to sort of switch back to the padded cell because, doctors will be visiting you and you have to blink with your eyes in the normal way and still act.
Yeah, you have to maintain a sense of, normalcy in your padded cell.
Instead of going, I'm not possessed, I'm not insane, please find my body. Wait, what?
For some reason, I'm getting flashbacks to that stupid puzzle in Space Quest 6 where you have to make the mannequin out of vegetables.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was...
You have to make a mannequin out of donuts here because you're trying to evade the police, so you have to distract them and maybe also slightly titillate them.
Well, that is one way of going about it. That you could perhaps you've managed to create an escape tunnel out of the padded cell, so you can leave for certain amounts of time, but you know that you've got to make sure that nobody captures you and get back in time for your next sort of scheduled.
Right. You have to get back so Detective Mananan doesn't find out.
But seriously, do you think they would leave like vents and padded cells are usually constructed around thick walls of concrete? Is it like going to get a Black and Decker in there and just go?
Well, if adventure games have taught us anything, is that if you scrape off the padding on the wall, there's usually a nice, convenient vent hidden behind it.
That's true.
Look. There's a latch. What happens if I pull it? The entire wall opens up.
Exactly.
And then a rat comes out and says,
"Three adventure games that do this."
The police call in the architect who constructed it, and he just goes, "Well, I was certain no one would ever find that."
Damn. It turns out the prison warden actually has the secret entrance into every padded cell in the facility because he's a fat old perv.
Oh yeah, that's always a good one. The fat old perv warden. Like
60 cc's of dopamine and just give me half an hour, I'll be right back.
The warden is Bill Cosby. We're good people.
This is just evolving into impression time now, isn't it?
It is certainly going to.
Actually, I do have a somewhat sensible thing to put in at this moment. It's not my penis.
Get out.
Yeah, I know. What if we stick with the whole plan that the priest's body has been taken over by the devil. He's running around town. You are now in the body of the insane possessed guy, and you can astral project, which is something Catholic priests can do, apparently. But every once in a while, and we can have this like not on a timer, but like in the Gabriel Knight style. Once you complete a certain number of steps, it abruptly cuts back to the padded cell because someone, the pervy warden, for instance, has injected you with 60 cc's of tropamine and called all the nurses out of the room and is now sitting there watching you, wringing his hands, and you have to sort of convince him that you're not really the insane person anymore.
So for all intents and purposes, this is a combination between the game we did where you leap into animals and Blackout with Bill Cosby as a prison warden. I could get behind that.
If anything, if we want to be extremely convenient, we could just say that the body that he possesses he already happened to possess the innate ability to astral project, and the devil did not know this, and it's kind of like, oh well, now I've got you, I can astral project and get my body back.
Now there's an idea, surely, because you're asking about what denomination it is.
Don't call Francisco Shirley.
We're all counting on you. I think everyone who does exorcisms are, by definition, Catholic. Isn't that kind of a Catholic thing?
I think that's true. Yes.
It's a Catholic hobby.
It's something they do at parties, I believe, and I suppose we could just say that the art of astral projection is something, either an arcade Catholic secret that no one knows about unless they read huge Latin tomes at the Vatican, or this one priest just happens to have an innate ability to astral project.
The chosen one. He's got the power.
Okay, so moving hastily on, now that we've got the setup, we've got an interesting mechanic. How do you navigate around town solving puzzles and interacting with NPCs if you're astral projecting? What kind of form do you take? Surely not a corporeal form.
That's a good question, because, I mean, if you astral project, you're basically a spirit, aren't you?
Yeah, you're like the fluid.
You're the conscience. So I guess it's kind of like putting on no clip.
Yeah, that's how you get through the walls.
So we could do this first person 3D.
That would probably be interesting, because I guess after a while it would become grating that you look totally different. You've leapt into another body. I like the idea that that's secondary, because it's basically still you. You just see it through the eyes of.
I mean, you have two choices here, and Gareth, I'll let you speak in a second. I'm Kanye Westing you right here. Either you could go one route, which is Joey from Blackwell, just hovering around, interacting with only people who can see them, which is not very many, or you can be like the camera in Gabriel Knight 3, just scooting around people and trying to persuade them.
The camera in Gabriel Knight 3 was fucking annoying.
I was thinking both of those things. That you can only be seen by like Whoopi Goldberg from Ghost, but that you can control that camera in full 3D, so you can rotate it around all of the axes, but you can go up and down, because there's no reason why you can't sort of go up, and so you can have a really interesting places that you couldn't go into in a normal adventure game, because you can go up and you can go around and over.
Oh yeah. Oh, you can see everything from a bird's eye view, and you can go right up in there. And
you probably can't interact with the world apart from leaping into other people.
And let's not go the possession route, because we've already been there.
Yeah.
Right. I get it now. Right.
I was gonna say, as far as like the scope of the world, we don't necessarily have to leave the asylum. You could just clip through the walls, and then you could add the whole thing of like spying on the staff, and basically the goal becomes get this guy declared sane and out, so he can get out and find his old priest body.
But you have to do it by manipulating the world in such a way that maybe your presence causes events that affects the environment around you, but you don't directly pick up an item because you're not able to, but maybe you're able to, like, push a cup of coffee off a table and cause something else to happen or whatever.
It's kind of like the idea of the eavesdropping in the Colonel's Bequest. Like, you're hearing the conversations that these hospital staff members are having, and then you get this information, and then when the warden comes in, or the whatever he is comes in to visit you, you can try and convince him by telling him, well, your nurse, she's sleeping with your brother. And he'll be like, what are you talking about? And then little by little you have to kind of turn him against... Well, you could be sinister. You could turn him against his staff and then be like, how did you know all this stuff? And then you.
Well, we have to. I was thinking the exact same thing. I wanted to. I had my little Jason Priestley moment here when I went, okay, let's go controversial on this. Let's because my hair is very Jason Priestley. Which was that no real interaction. When you're in astral projection mode, you don't actually interact with anyone, but you sort of zoom around and listen into people's conversation, kind of Last Express kind of thing. Yeah. Even though I hate the whole thing of you have to be there at a certain time to witness that and that conversation and such. You could have a game like that. I'm sure there are people out there who like the Last Express. And then you relay all that information to whoever comes in the padded cell, leading up to somehow leading up to the fact that you convinced them that the devil is running around with your body out there. Maybe we should do something about that.
Yeah, or you could just, in figuring that no one will believe you, you just try and get them to get you out. You could have multiple visitors in the cell, not just the warden. So you could
exactly.
have a nurse who comes and administers your medicine. You could tell her about the person who's, I don't know, I only go back to sleeping with your brother. That seems to be
everyone is sleeping with everyone's brothers.
Oh, but I like the idea of turning the nurse against the warden, for instance, because the warden keeps you massively sedated, so you have to convince the nurse that you're not really who the warden says you are, so you have to get her to not sedate you, and then you can sort of break free of your restraints. I kind of have this image of him being strapped into bed during the first part of the game, so he can't actually move anywhere. He's just contained there. That's why he has to astral project.
I like this idea. So it's very dialogue and character driven. You have to kind of, perhaps if we make the characters complex enough, which is certainly something I find interesting, then maybe you would urge people to take notes or something like that.
And that sound you just heard, ladies and gentlemen, was that we have 15 minutes to go.
She could be having sex with your brother. The brother could be your monk.
I was pretty sure we were talking about the warden's brother, but hey, fuck it.
I have a suggestion for the police aspect, because the way that we're working with this right now, we're not out on the street, so the police can't, be a factor. How about if, how in torture situations they often play like pop songs really loud to prisoners and stuff to drive them crazy, stuff like that?
I've heard of it. I obviously haven't experienced it. I probably will.
I think Gareth knows where I'm going with this. So how about the way that the warden keeps you sedated is he plays you songs by the police really loud. So you have to turn
that is clever. That is clever.
I don't know about you, but I've heard,
oh dear, we have a twist. We think we can get Matthew Perry on board with the right pitch. Add more zaniness. What, do you want to get more zany than
Well, I think Francisco just got us aptly zany for Matthew Perry to join.
Could this be more zany?
So we can actually have Matthew Perry be the insane person locked up in an asylum, because frankly, if you've sat through more than 2 episodes of Friends on end, you really want to see the guy locked up.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I've heard every little thing she does is magic enough to drive me insane. So
I like the guy. I think he would actually be a perfect fit. But of course, we're probably, since we're talking about doing this like first person, we're probably just gonna have the voice talents of Matthew Perry.
Well, he might be able to give his likeness rights.
Surely. And he's an animated guy, so watching him being strapped into a table for the first half of a game will also be kind of a personal victory.
We can probably sell this game to to everyone who didn't like Friends. Watch Matthew Perry get strapped down. And they're like, great, I'm sold.
And we also sell it to people who don't like Sting or the Police.
I was just going to say we're going to have to license a couple of Sting and the Police songs because, frankly, after you've listened to Roxanne for the second time on repeat, you also want to stab your
it's
head.
good as well because the way that we've got the game mechanic, you'd be able to get really up in a character's face without them saying "Don't stand so close to me."
You can probably jump into their mouth and all the way down through the system. Actually, that could be interesting. Suppose someone, swallowed a note of important personal
A message in a bottle.
Yeah. Well, that goes up the other way. No,
all the chapters of this game is named after the Police or Sting songs.
No, I was talking about if you had like a small note with like a phone number or something, and someone scribbled that down, memorized it, didn't want anyone to find out, so they just crumbled it and ate it. Then you could actually go into their mouth and go all the way down and have a look at this telephone number and get back out again.
Yeah, I quite like that idea actually.
I know it's sick as fuck, but roll with me here.
No. But I think it's quite clear that none of us have any fucking idea what astral projection actually is.
Well,
we'll neither do
what we need it to be, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Neither do the new age hippies who believe in it, because as far as I'm, I want to believe, but genuinely, I think it's bullshit.
Well, Fred wants us to go into people's lungs so we can hear every breath they take.
Oh my god!
Oh, well played,
Honestly,
sir.
This is the effect that it should have on the inmate. Every time he hears the song, he just can't astral project because he's so distraught by the horror of Sting.
What if it's just that one song, every breath you take?
Over on the IRC channel, Serena says that we should look up the Wikipedia page for astral projection. No, madam, we're not going to. We have a show to do. We're not going to sit here and read a Wikipedia article. We're just going to roll with whatever the fuck we think it is.
Oh.
Exactly. Couple of lights on, someone singing Russians in the background. That's the only other Sting song I know. Okay, so we've got a mechanic. We've got a very interesting idea, I think, is that you don't actually interact with anyone, but you can sort of go anywhere, and we do mean anywhere. There must be a bathroom scene in there that's just horrific. Yeah. Someone swallowed it, but you weren't quite in time to get to the stomach. So yeah.
No, I was scrambling to get that.
No, you stole mine. I'm stealing yours.
You go all the way. You go all the way down through the drainage.
Yeah. Okay, so the whole astral projection thing. Every time you get distracted inside the cell, you sort of jump back to reality, and you have a conversation with whoever went into the cell. What's the end game here? Once you actually convince people to let you out of the cell, in Matthew Perry's body no less, then you have to go and hunt down the devil. Do we change game mechanics here?
We probably would. Or you can use the astral projection against the devil. I mean, first of all, I guess you have to locate him. And I mean, if you're trying to get at the devil, then it's kind of useful that his minions wouldn't be able to detect you.
Oh, here's the thing. You astral project inside your own body's mind. You like go through the ear, and the devil's just sitting in there in a little tricycle, whirring around inside your head. If it's good enough for James Wan, it's good enough for us. Have you guys seen Insidious? Piece of shit.
Insidious was awful.
No, I haven't.
It's just terrible. But that's kind of what I was
like.
He has a tricycle too.
I like the idea of you astral projecting into your own mind.
Like John Malkovich.
And then meeting the devil is probably played by John Malkovich. If John Malkovich.
What you could do is you could also astral project into like the computers to read people's emails, and then you would be a ghost in the machine.
Oh God, this thing is ripe with puns.
I still think every
Wikipedia for that one. I'm sorry.
Actually, can the devil be played by a Virginia Capers imitator?
No.
Well, that's a veto.
Yep.
I am divine angel.
Pony says no. Pony says no.
I am the father of all lies.
You made Pony cry.
I am the ultimate sin.
Oh,
No,
and
I am not. I am not Ozzy Osbourne. I am the
We have-
devil.
Then at the end, when we finally confront the devil, because the devil knows our secret, if the devil is Virginia Capers, she starts singing.
starts singing the police songs.
Starts doing
Every breath you.
I can mute him. Do you guys want me to mute him? I can totally mute him.
Well, I mean, if
No,
she does
because
sound like
I'm
Virginia
hosting,
Capers,
so you
nobody,
can't actually mute me.
if she does sound like Virginia Capers, nobody's going to have talked to her for years. She's going to be so lonely.
That's true.
I just muted Fred. I can't unmute him.
Oh, no.
No, seriously, I can't.
I think he muted himself.
No, it said... Oh, no. Well, it's me now, Gareth.
So, Francisco, as we're coming up towards the sort of the last quarter of the show, would you like to summarise where you think the game is right now?
Well, let's see. Where I think the game is right now is we've got Matthew Perry, who is this insane person in an asylum who is actually possessed by the devil, gets visited by a kind Catholic priest/exorcist. And during the exorcism, the devil jumps out of Matthew Perry's body and into the body of the Catholic priest, whose soul then gets transferred into the now, I suppose, empty host body of Matthew Perry. And he just happens to be able to astral project. So the priest goes out and starts wreaking havoc with the devil inside him, while we are stuck inside the asylum in the padded cell as Matthew Perry. But we realize we can astral project, and that allows us to just bodilessly float throughout the asylum and listen to people and look inside their stomachs and just get all access pass to every aspect of the asylum. However, the wicked warden somehow knows that we can astral project, and the way that he controls us from doing this, because he knows the mischief that we can get up to while doing this, he plays us songs by the Police really loud, and so that causes us, it's sort of kryptonite to our astral projection, and we're not able to astral project. So we need to spy on the people in the asylum and somehow turn them against each other and get them to help us in our ultimate quest to escape the cell and find our body, which when we do, we find that the devil is inside, played by Virginia Capers, and she attempts to sing us songs by the Police, but somehow we defeat her.
Yeah.
The end.
Actually, I wasn't even sure. Very nice synopsis. Thank you very much. I actually wasn't even sure that the warden knew that we were astral projecting. I just thought he was kind of a perv. That's 5 minutes left on the clock there.
Well, I mean, he could also be a perv.
Yeah, I just thought he was just being a really, really mean person and just keeping you doped and sedated.
He could be jealous of our ability to astral project because he wishes, since he's a pervert, he wishes he could, silently go around and look inside people's butts and stuff. Because he's a pervert.
Oh, okay. Wait. This is a revelation that comes later in the game. First, just to start off, he must have been the one who called in the priest, surely, because he thinks that you are possessed. Matthew Perry is the possessed person, so he's a very religious sort of person. Calls in an exorcist, and then discovers that you are, in fact, astral projecting. The devil is somewhere out there. He doesn't seem to care too much. He becomes envious of your ability to astral project, and so
because he's so lonely.
Yeah, and pervy. And I just like the idea of naming him Bill for no reason whatsoever.
I like the idea of Bill.
So the end game, of course, is you can only astral project so far during the actual game. During most of the game, you could only astral project into the asylum. So you have to turn the asylum people against the warden to get them to help you out. So the end game is you actually get out of the asylum, so you can I don't know, go to your apartment and astral project into the devil's head because you can't reach him while inside the asylum. I think Gareth
the warden's played by John Oliver because he's an Englishman in New York.
This is brilliant.
And all the chapter names are named after singing police songs.
On any other day, I would agree with you, but.
And the end game is basically just what's the antidote to Sting and police songs? Sorry, what was that?
I said I think Gareth was just crying.
It does that a lot, but we do have a twist.
No.
The entire cast have to be anthropomorphic animals. We need to appeal to the furries market.
Okay.
Holy shit.
It's
That's
Inherit the Earth Part 2.
yeah, it is, isn't it?
With the police, with Matthew Perry, with John Oliver, with Virginia Capers.
It's an all-star cast.
Well, it's a really dark tale, but surely you can do it with anthropomorphic animals.
That's Tail with an AI.
I thought what we had up until this point was pretty good, but now it's just, and I mean this with no disrespect to anyone in the furry community, but now it's just too damn weird.
Although
Well,
Serena does have a very nice title for us over on the RSC channel, Inherit the Police.
Inherit the furry police.
So how are we gonna do this? Are we just gonna set this in the Magic Kingdom and?
I don't think it really needs to change too much. They just happen to be anthropomorphic animals.
Like an old Disney films. Can we have the protagonist be a fox? Robin Hood was a fox, and that worked pretty well.
So was the protagonist in Inherit the Earth.
We also need a well, I'm gonna say this, but we need a cock who can shut the fuck up. Just prancing around with a guitar. Roxanne.
And the warden is a big giant grizzly bear.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's funny how these roles just sort of naturally.
And the devil is a wolf, of course.
Yeah.
In fact, there aren't that many really like dark, disturbing kind of priests and exorcism and astral projection kind of stories within the furry community. It's usually grassy knolls and singing and fucking while wearing fur costumes.
The original Catholic priest can be a badger. We can homage to Friar Tuck.
That actually works very well.
Yeah. Totally. I mean, and it also saves on production time, I guess.
Do we get an appearance from Sting as a furry animal who has been using too much hair gel?
He's an otter. He has to be an otter.
Stingray.
Oh, a stingray. Well,
a stingray.
Or a bee or something, or a wasp.
Yeah, because he stings.
What we've established so far is that even though you're an anthropomorphic animal, you still like the police, the band. Okay, so it doesn't really change the. Serena says that Sting has to be a ferret. Well, yeah,
that can work.
That could work.
Yeah, I like Sting as a ferret.
Oh, but it introduces the interesting thing where you can have a cow, and when you look inside, they have 4 stomachs, so you have to find the note in one of the 4 stomachs.
Indeed.
Wow, you just got played out, didn't you?
Yeah, but that came at quite the.
A good idea.
Yeah, it does share a couple of similarities to the one where you possess woodland animals, but I like this one better because basically none of the animals know that you're traipsing around inside them. So I guess
you don't possess them; you look inside them.
Yeah,
and the last time around, the animals weren't anthropomorphic; they were just animals.
Yeah, and you were a dead little girl.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, things went off to a fantastic conclusion, I think. I know we just had a recap here, but could we perhaps bother you with just another sort of a quick yet amazing recap of the game from start to finish?
Animals, Asylum, Astral Projection, amazing!
Thank you.
All right, so anthropomorphic Matthew Perry Fox. Oh, if it was Michael J. Fox, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Anthropomorphic Matthew Perry Fox is being tortured at this asylum by listening to the police songs to prevent his astral projection with the warden in control. He calls in a priest. There's a crazy 80s mix-up. The priest ends up in the body. The devil is in the priest's body. The priest inside the Matthew Perry Fox body has to astral project and look inside all of the animal staff of the asylum and try and get out and confront the devil, Virginia Capers, and the warden is John Oliver.
In a bear costume.
Yeah.
And we're doing this first-person perspective, so you can really get right up in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes. At least when you astral project, you're in first person. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's categorically awful. I quite like it.
It's the worst game I've ever heard of.
Yeah, over on the RSC channel, Serena Nelson asks, since when did this become a furry soap opera? Now, I don't know. To me, it doesn't sound like a message of support. It sounds like pure, undiluted disdain.
No, this is a deep character study. It just happens to be performed by a bunch of people in animal costumes. Actually, there's a whole lot of tender loving care of the game around this. It's very psychologically deep.
Actually, it's about ethics in games
Please
journalism.
don't talk about tender loving care. Oh God.
And Gareth has found something for us.
Gareth is showing us something which is always a highlight. The police are back.
He does look like a ferret, doesn't he?
He does.
It does look a little bit like a ferret.
Yeah. Okay, so
I wonder why no one else has picked up on this. Quite astute observation from Serena Nelson. Sting looks like a ferret.
Yeah. So that's really the best thing we can take away from this. So if anyone from the police are listening to this, any fans of the police or Sting in general, your lead singer looks like a ferret.
That's my suggestion.
Actually, I believe Sting went on a tour with Paul Simon a couple of years back, and actually, Paul Simon really does look like Fried Tuck, doesn't he? He looks sort of like a badger.
We should have like Omicron the Nomad Soul, where there are like little concert interludes in the middle of everything, except instead of stiff polygon characters miming to the music, they're just anthropomorphic animal representations of the artists.
Only question is, where does that leave Art Garfunkel?
He's an otter.
He's a bit too curly to be an otter. Maybe
an otter with a Jufro.
No.
Okay, so I suppose the question that's left on everybody's mind is that, Francisco, once you wrap up Shartlight and give old Ben the boot once again, will you be putting on a furry costume and kickstarting this?
No, God, no. To the kickstarting, I'm not put on the furry costume though.
Okay. So we'll see you at the next convention then.
Alrighty. I'll be the one in the gray fur or squirrel outfit, ready to yiff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to make contact. Really, if you look up all these song titles, they're genuine.
Can we have? I know this is kind of treading on going back and designing, but if we had like really stupid puzzles in this game, could we call it Walking on the Moon logic?
Oh.
That is good.
Sir, that is the best line of any to get into the outro spiel here. I don't think we can improve on this any further. Yes, ladies and germs, and everyone in furry costumes, that is it for Open Crowdsource for this episode. Before we go, we are contractually obliged, even though he doesn't want us to give a big thank you to Michael Consul, who has very generously donated to the Backseat Designers Patreon Fund, also known as Fred's Whiskey Stash. So thank you, Michael, and thanks for all the photos of you and your mates watching the show at home. Next week, we have... God, who is on next week?
It's
that would be Daoush. Daoush will be joining us. And this is
let Daoush out.
That is actually, as Francisco pointed out, I live in a completely different time zone than everyone else. Next week was supposed to be our Adventure X special, but we've had to cancel that because internet does not exist in London, apparently.
That's why Gareth doesn't go south of the river.
Don't go south of the river. You can't get internet south of the river. What are you talking about, mate?
So instead of that, and we're very sad that that's not going to happen because that would have been an awful lot of fun, but we did manage to get our patron saint back. So it's 3 cheers for the patron saints.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next week, like I said, we have Daoush, which is the hip-hop name for Krish Ushko, the creator of Space Quest Incinerations, who graciously decided to hang up everything known as good taste and join us as a replacement.
Until he cancels.
That will happen next Sunday at the same time, but please check the YouTube page for your local time. Thank you again to the patron saints. I just did that, but now it also shows up in the script, and this is the point where I ask, do you have anything to plug? other than four stomachs of a cow, astral
Why,
projection.
yes, as a matter of fact, I do.
Fred, lock the screen. Lock the screen, man.
Yes, let me.
That's what I plug.
I already did that earlier, but here's another fine look at it. A
Yeah.
short white T-shirt, ladies.
Yes,
and
buy Shard Light when it comes out, please. Please.
So
No,
where does your light shard out of? No, wait, that's a crap joke. Oh, please carry on. What is shard light anyway? God, I
It's
wish
a
I knew.
post-apocalyptic point-and-click adventure game in which you play as a dying young woman named Amy who has to discover a terrible government secret and also fight to survive as well as make the world a better place. And it features a special, delightful cameo by Trolls himself as a dying, grunting man.
there are a lot of dying people in your games, aren't there?
Yeah, well, you know.
I can't
It's
see
true.
why you're so averse to furry animals.
I was just gonna say, is the protagonist a fox?
No, she's not.
Damn it.
I was going to ask if this post-apocalyptic secret was Hitler's brain in a jar smoking.
Spoilers!
Yeah, sorry. Well, we did say run with it, and someone certainly did. Anyway, when is this enjoyable piece of interactive fiction in our hands?
Hopefully February or March 2016.
Ah, and it is published by Dave Gilbert. And what animal would Dave Gilbert be?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think he would be.
Thinking a tabby cat.
I think he'd be more of a Boston Terrier.
You heard it here first, everyone. Okay.
Dave Gilbert, Boston Terrier, what did I?
Okay, so let's get back into the spiel, shall we? You can find the show and all the details on backseatdesigners.com. If you enjoyed the show, you can now also download the home edition of the open crowdsource machine, so you can play this at home with friends. It doesn't even have to be about adventure games, because you can make your own cards and your own deck, but it comes pre-packaged with the cards that we used in Season 1. So you can play the game for yourself at home. And of course, we are also on Twitter, on Facebook. We have a Facebook group. We are on YouTube, which is probably where you're watching this. You can subscribe to our RSS and iTunes feed, which is probably where you're listening to this. And most importantly, you can find all of those links on the site that I just mentioned, backseatdesigners.com. I should just read that out instead of trying to come up with my own shit. Anyway, and please, before I forget, check out Francisco's podcast, which he neglected to plug. It's called Blue Cub Tools, and it's very hard to find a subscribe link, so we'll have to put that in the show notes somewhere. It's buried like on page 51 on the AGS forums.
Oh, yeah. Just follow us on Twitter, @BCT_podcast.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sad that Ben isn't here so he could do that with you in unison.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I forgot to do it. We forgot to plug everybody in yesterday's episode.
Oh, well. But thank you so much for joining us at such short notice. It was very nice to have you back, sir.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure, and I look forward to the next time.
Yeah, there most definitely will be a next time, Mr.
See,
Patron Saint.
see what I did there. I just made you have to invite me back now.
Well, we kind of were anyway. We're going to anyway. I think I can safely say that. Anyway, please say goodbye, Gareth.
You're my desert rose, Trolls.
Oh, Jesus, the pony loves you. Say goodbye, Fred. Fred is frozen. Fred is literally frozen.
His face.
That's a great face.
Does this mean the stream has frozen too, or?
We'll find out.
We'll find out. Anyway, say goodbye, Pony. Goodbye. That is it for Open Crowdsource. We will see you next week.
A bientôt. We're going to be on. We're going to be live for a long time now because Fred's
we
not going to know to turn it off.
No, we can't. We can't tell Fred to turn off the stream.
So
Oh no.
Since we're doing this show forever,
Just
How you
fire up
doing?
the machine again.
Yeah, let's just turn. No, we can't even turn on the machine again. It's on Fred's side. Let me just check the IRC channel. Is the stream still on?
I'm gonna check the stream itself on YouTube.
This is interesting.
Yep.
And
Yes,
It's-
it is.
we're still going. Can
Yeah,
someone
we're going.
screen grab Fred's face? Oh, he
Fred's
left.
Gone. And
Oh.
we're still live.
Yeah.
How do we solve this? The internet's broken.
We can't turn off the stream. I don't have a turn off stream button.
We can
And
all
how-
just leave, I guess.
I think we all need to hang up.
That's probably it. No, really, how's this still going? Fret's the host. It should just cut out when he leaves.
I'm scared.
Me too.
The worst part is that it's focused on my face. So I'm gonna leave now. Bye.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye.
We'll have and Serena over on the RC channel is screaming, "Turn off the stream!"
I think everybody wants this stream to go away. If anybody's still listening, bye.
We're sorry. Bye.